in 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to Geekvice episode 281, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph, that man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
We have made it 2 weeks in a row, can you believe it? Oh, it's like a record.
Wonders will never cease.
Yeah, it's that's been pretty rough for us here lately, but we'll get back on track. We're getting there. This week, well, what have you been up to this last week there, Kip?
Oh man, practically nothing, and it's been fabulous.
I wish I could say that. I feel like my weeks just keep getting busier and busier, and I don't know how to make it stop. Let's see. This last week we had a birthday party for my son. Wait, that was not this last week. Man, now they're all blurring together. What did I do this last week? This last week was opening weekend for youth soccer. It was also opening weekend for the MLS. And that's what we did. On Saturday, my wife made homemade ravioli from scratch.
Dang.
Yeah. So we had that for dinner on Saturday. That was really good. She bought a pasta press. So and it also cuts pasta. So like you make your pasta dough out, and then it's like that roller that you see like people on Food Network use to like stretch out your dough so you can make your noodles. We have one of those now. I don't know. We've used it once, but it was really good.
Sweet.
Yeah, we had that going on. But yeah, I guess really the big thing has been soccer starting back up, and I will hijack the show to geek out on soccer because that's what I do. I'm even wearing my Adidas stuff, wearing my soccer jacket. So yeah, the big thing. I love soccer. That's my sport. That's my sport above everything else. And both my boys play competitive soccer, and both of them started this last weekend. Reese had a game on Friday night, which was a little chilly on Friday night, but this weekend was so nice on Saturday when my youngest son Conley played, which is also the person that I coach, the team that I coach. It was a balmy 65 degrees, and it was wonderful. It was great soccer weather, so it was a lot of fun. Got to see the boys out there running around again outside where there's more space and more skills to be done, and it was a lot of fun. And on top of that, this last weekend was opening for MLS, which is Major League Soccer, if you don't know. Kansas City's got a great team this year, Sporting Kansas City. They didn't do so hot last year, missed the playoffs, but they've gone and made some big splashes in the international market, brought in a few players that are already changing this team around. First game of the season was last weekend, and it was in Vancouver, Canada, which I hate West Coast games because they are 2 hours behind us, and that means the games don't start until 9:30 at night. So, luckily there's Saturday nights, and I can stay up really late on Saturday nights. But my kids always argue whenever the games are that late. Can we stay up for the whole game? And since we didn't have anything going on this last Sunday, I let them stay up late and watch the game. Sporting came away with a 3-1 win, which is a big win in soccer. It's kind of like winning by 2 touchdowns in football. And the biggest thing is 2 of those goals were scored by 2 different new players for Sporting that were brought in this last year. And that's a good sign when the guys you bring in are having an immediate impact like that. That's a really big deal. So that was really, really good to see, and excited to see the home opener this weekend, Saturday night, 7:30. If you're interested in going, you can get tickets at SeatGeek.com. That's where Sporting sells all their tickets. But 7:30, March 7th. It's gonna be a awesome, ruckus, loud crowd. It's If you haven't been to a Sporting Kansas City game and you're in the Kansas City area, I highly recommend it because it is the atmosphere. Even if you're not a soccer fan, the atmosphere is incredible. They make it a lot of fun, and it's I would find it comparable to like a KU basketball game or a Chiefs football game. The crowd is into every moment of the game, and there's not, even if the game you might not understand what's going on, you're still gonna have a good time because you're gonna get engrossed in the fans. Then they keep you involved. So really good.
Yeah, I would love to see a game there sometime since I worked on the design team that designed the stadium, and I've never been in it.
Yeah, we've got to rectify that. We got to get you in there.
Probably the last person on the design team to go into that place.
Well, then we really need to fix that.
So if you're listening to this and you're going to the game, just pay attention to how great the sidewalks and everything are around it. I designed that.
Those are some really nice sidewalks. The pavilion out there in the outside the stadium, top notch. Love it. There's no cracks. Nice concrete finish.
That's right.
You called
the
out
water
that broom
drains
finish,
we're
right?
supposed to. It's not hard to walk on.
No, it's yes, very nice. And as a guy who does that same work, I can appreciate a nice sidewalk. I feel like that's all I really do anymore is sidewalks. But yeah, we've got that going in. To stick on the soccer news a little bit, I want to pimp a fellow podcast that is getting up and running. It is called Coaching Inside the Box. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. Just look for Coaching Inside the Box. It is a coaching podcast that is kind of geared towards coaching youth soccer. And it's 3 guys that are coaches, current youth coaches. One of them is a British guy named Andy Barney, who is the founder of the Legends Soccer Club in Kansas City. And the other one is Felipe. He is a coach at the Legends Club. Is also Brazilian, born and raised in Brazil. Played soccer in Brazil. Really, really good. He actually coaches my oldest son. And then the other guy is Andrew Clifton. He is an American, as he calls himself on the intro, and he is also a coach of the Legends Soccer Club. Works for the Legends and helps run the Lee Summit branch of the club. And these 3 guys are going to talk about. At least the idea right now is for them to talk about the youth culture for soccer in the United States, how it differs from the other countries, and what we can do to what the U.S. soccer culture is missing, and what they think we could do to change it, and develop more creative soccer players. So if you're a soccer fan like I am, uh, if you are or you're a coach of the sport, and I recommend listening to this. They're recording episodes now and editing them, getting all of that stuff put together. Their Facebook page is pretty light right now, but it's gonna start exploding here soon. Felipe's doing all the editing for it, and I've been talking to him, kind of helping them out with um, how to get started in the podcasting world. So I thought I would pimp them a little bit since they're a fellow podcaster that is trying to get into it with a very different topic than what you would normally hear or find in the podcasting world. I don't know that there's really any other podcasts that are going to cover these type of topics in this depth.
Probably not, but it's pretty awesome. I look forward to giving them a listen myself.
Yeah, it's
I like supporting the local boys.
yeah. And it's going to be kind of interesting because you're going to have three very distinct perspectives on this, with two of them not being not growing up in the United States. Andy Barney has been here in the United States for a really long time, but he grew up and played soccer in England, so he's gonna have a completely different perspective than Felipe, who was, grew up in Brazil just playing street soccer all the time, and we don't really have that here. And I know that's one of their first topics is to talk about the absence of street soccer. A lot of countries, they just kids just go downtown or just go outside and play soccer out in the streets. Can't really do that here in the United States.
I wonder if they're going to talk about the fact that kids don't even go outside to play.
Probably. That's probably going to get touched on too. So, yeah. Really interested. I can't wait for them to get all their episodes done. They're in the works, and so you'll be seeing stuff coming from them soon. Go follow them on all the social media stuff, because Philippe said they were going to just slam social media once all that stuff gets out there. So keep an eye on it. So
very, very cool.
There's my soccer rant. See, it only took like 15 minutes. Not bad. Not bad.
No, not bad at all.
So what do you got there, Kip? You got soccer talk too?
I have zero soccer talk. I know that's surprising, but zero.
I mean, especially we really need to. I need to go back and find the audio for the last time you talked soccer, and so that we can put little snippets.
The lost episode.
The lost episode. The only episode that is not found anywhere. Which I think's a shame. We really need to find it again. That really needs to be
I may or may not have had alcoholic beverages that night. I can't remember, actually.
I'm pretty sure I did, because I think when we were recording those shows, it was so long ago that I was going through 2 or 3 beers during the show. So, I've tapered that down a little bit. I drink a little bit more water, try to get rid of this beer gut. So,
yeah, I understand that completely. No, I'm not gonna. I don't have a soccer rant, but I do have a book recommendation, and the book is called Permanent Record. It is written by Edward Snowden, and unless you've been living under a rock, you should know who Edward Snowden is. I guess the best way to describe him is a whistleblower.
Yeah.
He uncovered, or at least let to light, the United States government illegally collecting all our data. the NSA and the guise of the Patriot Act. But don't read the book because of that. Read the book because it's actually, well, for one thing, it's really well done. And the other part about it is it's more about his life and not as much about his whistleblowing as you would think. I mean, it starts off with him as a kid and, growing up being a computer geek and all this other stuff. And, talking about his relationship with his then girlfriend, now wife, and everything he went through to get to the point where he's like, couldn't live with himself unless he did this kind of a thing. So you will learn a little bit about keeping your data safe as possible. You'll learn a little bit about that. But he does keep quite a few things still under his hat. I guess, because they are national security kind of things, and
Right.
even though the whistleblower won't disclose them, but it makes you really root for the guy. I never, full disclosure, I never thought the guy as a traitor. I always thought of him as more of a national hero because of what he did. So the NSA, I know you're listening. Yeah, I think he's a hero. It wouldn't be you wouldn't have these problems if what you were doing wasn't illegal. But if you don't really know anything about it, I highly recommend reading this book or listening to it on audio, as I did. It does bring to light some things I didn't know, which was quite a few actually. But it also really shows what he had to give up. I don't think anybody ever thinks about that. At least I didn't. What he actually gave up. You think, yeah, now he has to live in Russia. Big deal. But he gave up everything.
Yeah.
His relationship with his mom. At the time, he couldn't tell anybody what he was doing, including the woman that he loved, that he lived with. And he just had to one day just disappear and just hope that these people could forgive him. And it's amazing to listen to. You just don't think about that part of it until you're actually confronted with it. It's like, holy cow. That makes what he did even that much more impressive.
Yeah.
Because here's a guy, he's like 29 years old, I think, at the time, making a shit ton of money. With, found the girl of his dreams. He's making big bucks, and he gave it all up to do the right thing. And I think about it, it's like, I don't think I could have done that. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure I couldn't have done that. And so it just makes what he did even more impressive. There are parts that are pretty sad, when you think about it. And as the book is unfolding, it's like, holy cow, that is super sad. But I expected the book to make me just feel completely pissed off about what the government is doing and all this kind of stuff. But the book kind of ends on a fairly positive note, believe it or not, talking about all the changes that are happening and some laws that have been passed and some balls that are rolling to kind of get things fixed. So it does leave you with a little bit of hope and a little bit of things aren't as bad as you may have expected them to be. Because the whole time I'm listening to this book, it's like, I feel bad for this guy. He did all of this. I mean, he struggled and lost sleep and just tortured himself over this thing. And in my head, I'm thinking, this poor guy did all of this and nobody cares.
Yeah.
But you finish the book and you realize there's a lot of things happening that you just didn't know about. That's all good stuff. So instead of putting down the book and being super pissed off about the way the world is, you actually feel a little bit of hope, which was pretty great.
That's really
And
cool.
plus, his girlfriend moves to Russia and they get married, so they're kind of so that is all back into play. So it's it's like I feel pretty good about it. I still feel like he should be pardoned because he really didn't do anything wrong and
Yeah.
allowed to come back, but that I don't think will ever happen. But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
yeah.
I don't want to get into too much of it because this is not um, a political podcast. But yeah, I highly recommend reading it. It's starting to make me check into some things like encrypting my hard drive and my emails and getting a different web browser and things like this. So it will open your eyes to the way things work
Have
for
you
sure.
put the tape over your camera yet on your laptop?
I have not, but that's next.
Because I remember having that conversation one of the times I was over at your house with your lovely wife Holly, about the whole putting that over there. Like, yeah, they these guys can turn on this camera whenever they want. They are not gonna see anything exciting or fun, except maybe
Yeah,
me yelling at my screen when I die playing a video game.
yeah, and if you talk to people, they're going to say stuff like you just said. They're not going to see anything important. I don't have anything to hide. All that other stuff. Uh, Snowden lays out some arguments of why you shouldn't feel that way,
Yeah.
and it's pretty damn impressive.
All right.
You're like, yeah, yeah, people need to look at it that way. So yeah, I don't have anything to hide either.
Oh, I'm not saying that I
I'm
want people to do
never
it,
going to
but
run for president or something.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead,
I'm gonna
sorry.
have to. I'm gonna. You said you picked this up as an audiobook.
I did.
Nice. Did you get that from the library?
I did.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, it's 9 discs, so it's probably 9 hours of audio.
Okay.
The guy who reads it, at first I thought it was Edward Snowden, but it's not. It's just somebody that his voice sounds kind of what you'd picture Edward Snowden's voice sounding like. But so he's easy to listen to. The way he reads the book is fantastic. The story is great. I like the fact that it just deals with his life.
Yeah.
It doesn't start off with whistleblowing and all this other stuff. It starts off when he's like 8 years old.
Okay.
The family gets their first home computer and stuff like that. And, it's, if you didn't know what his life story ended up being, it's just a biography of some guy who got really good at computers. So,
Cool. Yeah. I'll have to check that
yeah,
out.
so permanent record. Check it out. It'll change the way you look at things for sure. It definitely changed the way you look at Edward Snowden.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to see. So I know this is now the second week in a row that we've had a novel on our that we've talked about, and I think last week we talked a little bit about Audible, and so this last week, actually, I guess it was Monday morning. My wife and I agreed that we needed to try a subscription to Audible, so
Oh wow.
we have signed up for Audible, get our free books. She's using it. She went out of town this week she had to drive to Arkansas, and she's like, she wanted to listen to audiobooks on the way down and on the way back, but she couldn't find any she couldn't find any free ones anywhere. And I'm like, well, why don't we just sign up for Audible, and then you get free books, that way, and you can grab a couple of books that way. So we did. Um, so I'm excited to actually get in and check that out and see how that goes. But I'll have to see if I
Yeah.
can't find
Well,
this
if
one on
permanent
there.
record's on there, I
Yeah.
recommend getting that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other cool thing that I didn't realize with Audible. Audible, unlike, the streaming services that are out there, Audible, you actually get the book, the audiobooks. So you own them. You get a digital copy of those. So you get the MP3 files or whatever format files they download from there. So um so if you
Isn't
were
doesn't it the way it work is you pay a monthly subscription and you get so many books a month? Is
yes,
that how that works?
yeah, so I don't know all of the details, but from first glance and the way it reads, when you sign up, you get two free books that are like any books I have on Audible, and then you get a certain number of like Audible originals that are only on Audible um, that you get in that first month, and then after that, it's a monthly fee of like $14 a month, but you get one free audiobook each month. If you don't use an audio, if you don't get one in one month, it rolls over to the next. So then you would have two the next month. So you
Oh,
never,
even better.
yeah, it's not a use it or lose it thing. So if you go a month without listening to it, you could get two the next month, and you can the way I understand it, and again, I haven't dove into it all the way, but my understanding is you download them and you have those. You can store them on your computer, and if you cancel your Audible subscription, you still have those audiobooks. So, um, which is different from a lot of things like this, where you pay a subscription fee and all you do is you know, you get to use them, but you don't get to own them. This I will have the files for them and could share them with other people, theoretically.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's
um,
no different than buying a book and then
yep,
loaning the book to somebody.
yep. And price wise, it's about $14, 14, $15 a month with one free audiobook each month. Looking at the audiobooks that I was kind of looking at to get, those look in the range of the $20 to $25 for an audiobook. So you're getting it cheaper if you have a subscription rather than just buying one each month. So, but yeah,
Well, that's very cool. Yeah, you'll have to tell me what books you end up trying out. I guess we could talk about them on here. Do we have a
yeah,
forum for that?
yeah, we do. So yeah, there might be some more books coming up here. Now it's going to be a battle between me and my wife on who is
Who gets the free
downloading.
book?
Yeah, who gets the free book that month? But because I'm pretty sure she's used both of them for this month already. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm also hoping that it means that I'll get to find uh, some new things that I hadn't heard of that might get recommended based off of other things that I've liked. So, um, I'm looking to give some stuff a shot, try some new things out.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, because there's so many good books out there. That's the sad reality of it is you'll never get to read them all.
right, yeah, yeah, and and um, I'm hoping that it can help expand my horizons a little bit. Just um, there's books that people that I work with have recommended that kind of not necessarily self help books, but um, different books like that. That can help in your advancing your career and just changing your personality, not your personality, but your perspective on life and um, some of those kind of books. And I've always thought, what, those would be really good. Like, I kind of feel like I should read that book, but reading a book is hard for me because I don't have a whole lot of time to sit and read. So,
Yeah, that's why
Listening,
audiobooks are the best.
that's right. I can listen to an audiobook while I'm working or driving in the car or, you know, sitting at a soccer practice. But yeah, have it anywhere I need it to go because I can have it right there on my phone.
That's right. Flying to Spain, you could listen to a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to, yeah, I might have to save up and get a whole bunch of them there for that one because that's a long flight. But um, I got a couple months to worry about that one. Oh right. So one other thing that I want to throw out there and is so back in February, February 21st to be precise, a new series on HBO on Amazon Prime Video got released called Hunters. It's an Amazon original. It's created by David Wheel, um, and actually has Al Pacino in it, which I think is awesome.
Right.
But the show's called Hunters. It's listed as a drama. The premise of this is it's inspired by a number of real Nazi hunters through the decades. It's not a specific representation of any of these, but these are based off historical facts. But this show follows a diverse band of Nazi hunters living in 1977 New York City who discover that Nazi war criminals are conspiring to create a Fourth Reich in the U.S. Um, so I will. This is right up my alley. I am a big fan of World War II, big fan of World War II history. And so I saw this and I'm like, man, I really like this idea. And so I've watched the first couple episodes. I've only made it in 2 of the 10 episodes of this first season. And man, it's really good. It is really, really good. Um, so far, um, it hasn't been too over the top. It has a a little bit of scenes where you're watching this and going, "Wow, this is." They're definitely utilizing the fact that Amazon Prime does not have to rate their or deal with the ratings the same way as regular television. This definitely feels like it's a HBO series rather than a CBS or ABC series, but um, not in a bad way necessarily. Um, the only part of it so far that actually made me cringe is in the second episode. You see a naked elderly woman, um, and I mean,
No.
yeah. So there's that, but it's for a reason, and the scene, although I was cringing when it was on, when the scene was done, I was like, oh well, yeah, you couldn't really do that any other way. So I won't spoil it because it's not necessarily a plot point, but or at least not yet in 2 episodes, but it is definitely a scene that kind of if you remember the premise of the movie that it deals with Nazis and it you'll see it coming and you will go, wow, that was definitely well thought out. Yeah, it's this thing looks really cool. Have you looked into this at all there, Kip?
I've seen the trailer. I've got it on my list to watch. Once The Outsider and McMillions is over, I'm going to dive into that bad boy.
Yeah, yeah. That's by the time you get to it, then I will probably have just been finishing it up. Or well, actually we'll probably finish it up about the same time, knowing the way you digest TV shows.
Yeah, if you're listening, you're like, well, geez, Outsider and McMillions only comes on one a week. This is true. but we're also throwing in some other stuff in there that hold us over until each episode comes out. So once those are done,
Yeah.
the filler stuff should also be done, and then I will get to it.
Well, and McMillions it only has, I think it ends this weekend, actually. I
And
think it's
so
the last
does
episode.
Outsider.
Okay. So, yeah. Perfect. This is the Hunters. Hunters is only 10 episodes long, so first episode was an hour and a half. The other ones seemed to be about an hour. So you're looking at a little over 10 hours. So it not too bad. Should be able to knock that out here. Maybe actually have it all done before next week, and we'll talk about it more once you finish it. But yeah, this looks really good so far. Highly recommend.
Yeah, it's people at work have been talking about. They're talking about how great it is, and all this other stuff. So, yeah, I can't wait to jump in.
Yeah, and it's got Al Pacino in it. Who doesn't like Al Pacino?
Yeah, and like you, if it's World War II stuff, I'm in. I
Yeah, and
am
it's
all in.
yeah, yeah, it's really good, and they really set the tone in the first scene. So when a Secretary of State gets called out in his home as being a Nazi, and his accent is perfectly like Southern United States, and then it switches to a German accent, you're just like wow, that's that is definitely embedded deep, and he does a whole lot to keep his identity secret, and tries to play it off as long as he can, and then gets really pissed off and just fixes the problem. So
Very good.
yeah, yeah, really, 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 really
Yeah, I
good.
will.
That
I'll
first
definitely
episode.
watch it.
So there use goes. So that's what we got going on. There was something else I was trying to watch too. Oh, I had just been watching. This part of the reason why this led into this was I finally got to watch Man on the High Castle. Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle, yeah.
Yeah. Also that's on Amazon.
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I believe it's on Amazon. So it was another one of their originals, and that was actually really good. I enjoyed that one. I only watched the first season. I haven't watched. I think there's 3 seasons now. I haven't gone on and watched the other seasons.
I haven't watched it yet, but it's a show that's right up my alley.
Yeah,
But not up my wife's, so I'm gonna have to watch it on my own. And yeah, that's usually when she goes to bed is when I play video games, so I have to decide
Yep. I feel you there.
which one I'm going to do.
I feel you there. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got going on. That's what we got going on.
Oops.
I was gonna throw out there while we were talking about video games. I ended up purchasing a new game this last, just a few days ago. This one is called. Let me see. I gotta pull it up here. Is called Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark. This is if you've played anything like Final Fantasy Tactics, this game is right in that wheelhouse. Kind of looking forward to give it a try. It's got a lot of awards, or not really awards, but high marks. 5 out of 5 from Strategy Gamer. Game Informer gave it 8 out of 10. Gaming Trend 95 out of 100. RPG Fan 90 out of 100. So lots of very high ratings for this thing, and very well received on the computers. So looking forward to giving that a try. So I'll have that in future episodes coming up.
Cool. Looking forward to hearing about it. Because
trying to
I'm
throw-
always looking for some video game action.
Yeah, this one will definitely be. It's very turn-based, very tactical, battle mat type thing. So, looking for some new things to kind of fill some voids, finishing up some other stuff, and actually also looking to try to maybe actually finish some games. You know.
That would be good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have that same problem.
Yeah.
I've got 3 going on right now, and I'm not close to any of them being finished. So,
How are you still playing Witcher 3?
Witcher 3, BioShock, and what's the other one? Holy cow! Uncharted.
Those are all BioShock I never really got into. I tried and that one just didn't hit it for me. Uncharted is one that every time I watch the watch clips of, I'm like, man, that is definitely a game that I should be playing, but it's only on PS, it's only on PlayStations, and I don't have one of those. So,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was a freebie. That
nice.
and the BioShock trilogy was free, so I have them. I've spent maybe 45 minutes in Uncharted, maybe 10, 15 minutes in BioShock.
Yeah.
Probably 3 hours in The Witcher, so yeah.
It's time to buckle down there, Kip.
Yeah, especially if I'm going to try to watch Man in High Castle.
Yes. Oh, need more time. So that's gonna go to our plea for money. Send us money so that we can quit our jobs and just enjoy content that we can then talk about on this show. So there you go. If you send us money, Kip can retire
right
and just play video games and actually get some of these games played.
Wow, that would be sweet.
Wouldn't it? That's my goal in life. Just be able to play video games. If only I was good at it.
There's the rub.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, Kip, you got anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap this sucker up?
Let's see, what's today? Next week I will be here, and the week after that I will not. So we probably won't record that week, the week of the 17th.
17th, 18th. All right. I will, we will figure out something there. If I can actually get ahead of the game a little bit, maybe I'll actually talk to somebody and have one of our other podcast arcade people out there. Maybe this would be a good time to pimp some of those guys. You should go, if you haven't already and you haven't been listening to us, you should go check out the Podcast Arcade. It's our podcasting network that is full of incredible things like Daydream Instruction Manual and Paranormal Dads and Mega, which is Make Eternia Great Again. A big He-Man podcast. What else do we got? What else is in there, man?
Falcon Punch Thunder Dads.
Falcon Punch Thunder Dads. I think Covert Nerd might actually be a part of our podcast now. So, there's all kinds of great stuff. Go check out thepodcastarcade.com. That is thepodcastarcade.com. That's got all links to all of the different podcasts that we have within our network. Go check them out. Support those guys. Give them some love. Because we all like doing podcasts, and we do them for you guys. So support all of them. They're all local guys, no big business running any podcasts here. So, but other than that, you can always go check us out on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekvice. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow that man over there at Kip Killigan. You can follow me at Geekvice. You can also go hit up our YouTube channel, with lots of fun content on there. Just go search for Kip Morph on YouTube and it'll take you right to it. We're the only Kip Morph out there. And of course, as always, you can reach us by email at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next time.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.